selection policy important for elite teams and also junior teams?
Well, Sean, having a selection policy for an elite team or club is important because having the correct players in the team will allow them to reach their end of season goal, which is obviously a grand final. Without a selection policy or selection criteria, any player would be capable of playing on the field and wouldn't have a strong understanding of the player's ability. For junior teams or clubs, there isn't really a selection policy. The game is revolved around having fun and ensuring all players have a fair go. Although it is important that the teams are selected fairly each week and all players miss the same amount of games or sit on the bench for the same amount of time.
Thanks for that. Great answer.
For me, I advance a minute, boy, I live it. Why start shit you don't finish?
How does the law apply to selection?
Well, Sean, clubs or associations can be taken to domestic courts or tribunals, which can also be further looked at by CAS. If an athlete finds unlawful discrimination in the selection process, unlawful discrimination is defined in law as unreasonable discrimination on certain specified grounds, including gender, race, physical impairment or pregnancy. Most selection disputes nowadays are heard by CAS rather than the domestic courts, either in the first instance or as the final appeals body.
Love your work, mate. What can happen if you don't have a policy with a top team?
Well, Sean, if a club or team do not have a selection policy and an athlete claims they've been unfairly treated, they can act through the law and go through court or tribunals. Most disputes can be settled through court or tribunals, but if they are exhausted and not settled, they will then be handled by CAS, Court of Arbitration for Sport. Having a selection policy and selection criteria is the best way for teams and clubs to avoid these situations and conflicts. Due to the level of competition being performed at such an elite level, the selection criteria will be revolving around capabilities to complete certain fitness tests, where the players with the highest and best results will be selected. This usually disadvantages the players with disability.
Well, you learn something new every day, mate.
Yes, you do.
What can happen if you don't have a policy with a junior?
Well, not having a selection policy and ensuring all the players are treated fairly and evenly usually ends with conflict with the parents of the children. Having conflict with the parents based around their child not being treated fairly or having even game time could lead to them complaining to the manager of your club, and you could possibly lose your job or coaching role over the situation. All junior teams should have full participation capabilities for all kids with a disability, as they deserve to be treated like everybody else. To avoid conflict with parents, community or sports commission, your selection criteria must allow for kids with disabilities to play and to be treated like every other junior athlete.
What is a suitable policy for a junior team?
Well, a policy for a junior team should revolve around giving every player a fair and even go on the field and at training. All players should be fairly treated, and all forms of discrimination should never be involved with how players are selected. An example of this is disability, racial, sexuality or ability. Selecting the team can also be based around attendance at training, so if a situation arose where you had to choose out of two players, the player that has been to the most training sessions will be the one that is chosen. This rule must be known by all players and parents at the beginning of the year. Rotations with positions on the field, bench rotations and rotating the players that play each week should also be put into place to ensure that everything's fair and even.
Don't finish. I want the top. All my people right there in the back of the
Last question. What is a suitable policy for an elite team?
Well, Cody Grace would know about playing in an elite club and team.
What was that?
So for an elite team, they have goals to win and be the best team out there or in the district competition. So therefore, selection will be based around their physical attributes and ability, mental toughness and mindset, and also their skills. An example of this type of selection policy being put into place is the AFL Draft Combine. Cody Grace knows all about it, where players are put through fitness tests such as beep tests, vertical jump, 20-metre sprint, etc. They put through interviews and ask questions about themselves and personal life. The players who will give the elite team the best chance of winning and the athletes who score the highest and get the best results in all of those tests were the ones who play the games. Selection policy does not revolve around being fair, it revolves around playing your best players to achieve your end of season goals.
Well, thanks for that, Jay. Talking about selection policy today, like to sign off from the 2014 NAB AFL Draft Combine.
Yeah. I want the top.